Hey guys, what's up? This is Sonic Soul here, and I just wanted to make a brief response video to Frabasaur's video regarding a new Nash reset, as he dubs it. Now, note, I'm not trying to rip on Frabasaur in any way. I don't even know the guy past this one video that I saw like a day ago. And to be honest with you, his reset isn't really all that bad. The only thing I want to address is some misinformation I feel was in the video. From what I saw in that video, there's something better that you can do that's not that new reset, especially when, you know, he discusses in the video that this new reset is better than all the other ones that we've used before. And also in the end, like, you're your own Nash player. Like, out of all the characters in this game, Nash is the one that gives players the most expression because of his toolkit.
Why did you stick with Nash?
In order to express himself as through gameplay, you have to stick with one character, and you need time. That's the reason why he still stick with Nash.
So, like, you can ultimately do whatever you want to do. You could do whatever mix-up you feel makes you who you are, right? And I feel like this new reset, the fact that it was found, I'm all great for new Nash tech. I don't care where it comes from. The fact that my character is getting new stuff is great, especially in a game where there's little depth to it at all. So, shoutouts to Frabasaur, actually, for finding new stuff. Now, in the beginning of his video, he covers the three mix-ups that most Nash players know about. The first is obviously EX Tragedy Assault into V-Trigger, and then you can press jumping jab, jumping short, or jumping strong, and then you can dash under, right? But the problem with this that I agree with Frabasaur with is that the dash under is very, like, visible. Like, you can clearly see, like, what side Nash will be on, regardless of whether or not he chooses to dash. And ultimately, it's not really necessary to do. Like, most people that will get hit by this are probably the people that, like, are new. Now, the next mix-up that he goes over is the quote-unquote Bonchan mix-up. And I have a few gripes with the way he explains this setup.
The Bonchan one, the same principle applies. Unless you are literally one hit from stun or one hit from losing the round, it's just a massive waste to use all those resources just for a throw. So they should just always block it. There's no reason for them to ever not just block. And even still, if they don't block and you get this, you need the next hit to get stunned, and that's okay, I guess. But you got to get that next hit. But honestly, you shouldn't have gotten the hit after that to begin with.
Now, the thing is, I kind of disagree with this because your opponent will have a reason to want to press a button, and that's throw. The fact of the matter is that you're +3 on hit after this target combo, meaning that afterwards you can either get a throw or you can get a normal. Now, there's normal priority in this game, meaning that throws will beat all normals in this game. So the fear of that is very crazy. Their best option is to just take the throw. Now, the other thing is that, yeah, Nash doesn't get much for landing a throw mid-screen, but he at least returns to neutral, which means that he can go back to playing the game where he forces his opponent to make mistakes because his neutral game is really strong. Now, if he lands the throw in the corner, he gets a standing fierce meaty, which means a crush counter, for free. And even if it doesn't land, he still gets to cancel that in a heavy boom and make it safe. Now, the other thing is that if the opponent decides to throw tech because they're scared of getting thrown after the reset, then you can beat their throw tech with a button. And that means you get another hit. And if they try to press a button in anticipation for the throw, they get stuffed anyway by another button or by the throw. So in general, this is actually a really good reset for that reason. The throw game is so dangerous in this game that I don't think that generalizing it by saying all the opponent's going to do is block, I don't think that's really good to just wipe away the entire throw game. Not to mention, Nash's throw game isn't that great to begin with, so him having this reset is really good. Also, to spend all those resources and then afterwards get another reset opportunity after is actually quite good, depending also on what combo you did beforehand. You don't have to do the combo you did. You can actually stun in the next hit if you get an optimal punish, right? You don't have to V-trigger. You can choose to do whatever you want because this is just a target combo that you don't need any bar for. So it really depends on what combo you did before this reset that will give you the stun needed. you're using the advantage of the target combo to elicit a situation where they have to guess between throw and normal. And that's a very strong thing in Street Fighter V. So now the final reset that Frabasaur brings up before he talks about his new Nash reset is what he dubs the Yukidan reset because he found it first, right? So I will talk about this one and the other reset together, because my assertion in this video is that the Yukidan mix-up is better than the new Nash reset that he shows to you guys. Now again, I'm not trying to rip on Frabasaur. The mix-up that he shows is actually really good too, but again, there are misconceptions that I want to cover. So for the Yukidan setup, it's EX Tragedy Assault, forward V-trigger, neutral jump heavy kick, bazooka knee, right? That is the mix-up for the Yukidan one. And for his reset, he does EX Tragedy Assault, forward V-trigger, and then he does jumping fierce. And then you can just dash, and you can either dash under or stay on the same side, right? So basically, my assertion in this whole video is that the Yukidan mix-up is actually better than the new reset that he shows you in this video. For multitude of reasons, right? And I want to also break down some misconceptions about the EX Tragedy Assault V-trigger mix-ups in terms of consistency, right? So the first thing I want to break down is the damage difference between both mix-ups. The new reset that he shows you does 192 damage and 270 stun, right? Whereas the Yukidan reset does 234 damage and 319 stun. Obviously, there's no contest. The Yukidan one is clearly better in terms of damage and stun. And, alright, you can make the argument that, well, you're doing these resets in order to land another hit, which will go into stun, right? So, why not do the one that does more damage, right? So, it comes to the next thing, consistency. He argues in his video that the Yukidan mix-up isn't as consistent in the left-right mix-up. You will more than likely end up on the same side than you will on the left side behind your opponent. Where I want to answer right now, that isn't really true. Now, if you know anything about the EX Tragedy Assault setups with V-Trigger, you know that the timing of the V-Trigger matters a lot, right? But the special thing about the Yukidan mix-up is that it's not just the timing of the V-trigger, it's the timing of the normals after the V-trigger, right? Now the point I'm trying to make here is that while both setups allow you to choose what side you'll be on for the left-right, the Yukidan setup gives you 4 chances instead of 1 to choose what side you're going to be on. So obviously you have to V-trigger cancel early, otherwise this won't work. And then you have to delay your neutral jump heavy kick, otherwise you'll stay on the same side. And then you have to do bazooka knee as early as possible, otherwise you're going to stay on the same side. And then, even if you do it all correctly, you could choose to stay on the same side by not walking under. So it's like you have 4 different options to make your opponent think whether or not you're going to go for it. So it really makes them think, as opposed to just one option where you V-trigger cancel early or late, and it's like, well, I can just look at the V-trigger and know whether or not you want to dash under. It's as simple as that. By the way, he also mentions how a majority of these setups have weak throw game or throw Oki afterwards. And I just want to say, like, especially like for the corner mix-ups, just stop. Like, you get throw Oki, you get stand fierce after your throw. And also, mid-screen, you can definitely get a throw after these setups. So I'll just show a bunch of them now, including the ones that you saw in this video.
The other one, where you juggle and you get the plus, they should just always block once they land, because there's no reason. This does give you stun if you get the next hit, but there's just no reason for them not to block. You're not going to go for the throw. The Bonchan one, the same principle applies. Unless you are literally 1 hit from stun or 1 hit from losing the round, it's just a massive waste to use all those resources just for a throw. So they should just always block it.
as you can see, despite what Frabasaur said about the prior two mix-ups, the Banshan mix-up and the Yukodon mix-up, being really weak in terms of throw game and how the opponent's only going to choose to block, I think I've proven, of course with showing other mix-ups as well, that Nash can set up a deadly throw game in the corner, and that even though he doesn't get as deadly of a throw game mid-screen, he returns back to neutral where his tools shine. As for Frabasaur's new reset, while it's not a bad reset, I think I've proven in this video how the Yukodon setup is a bit better in terms of both optimal damage and stun, and in terms of ambiguity as opposed to his new reset. Granted, again, I am not saying that you shouldn't try out that reset because it's still decent, but the only problem, and the glaring problem, is that you can clearly see what side Nash will be on if you look at when he cancels his V trigger. While the Yukodon setup, you can choose when to do neutral jump heavy kick, when to do bazooka knee, and even if you've done the setup correctly, you can still choose whether or not you want to be on the same side or behind the opponent. And as I've shown, you can still set up throw game, especially with the advantage that you get after doing the setup. So I think that's gonna just about wrap it up for this video. Thank you for those that decided to stick around for this long in the video. I really appreciate it. If you haven't already, definitely follow the channel, subscribe to it, and also follow me on Twitch where I do a lot of streaming. Also, shout outs to Frabasaur again. Thank you for throwing out that new setup, but I think I've kind of destroyed it now, considering I broke down how to stop the setup. But yeah, that's gonna wrap it up, guys. Take care.